Hi, this is Mrs. Calandra, in case you don't recognize my voice. Today we are going to talk about writing a narrative. This is from week 4, and the title that I chose is Moving to Denver. So I have Moving to Denver, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the process of starting it. We did our graphic organizer last time. Now we're moving on. This is our graphic organizer. I should have added more, but I just did a simple one. I can add more stuff. It talks about my characters, my setting, my problem solution, beginning and middle and end. So that's all there for me to look at. Now, characters and dialogue. I like to come up with things that my characters are going to say. That way, I know how my story is going to go along. For example, I have my characters, mom and dad, on this page, and it says things that they are going to say in my story. Your dad got a new job. We are moving to Denver. What's wrong? You'll make new friends. I'm so happy you found a friend. Dad says things like, we need to move. Everything will be okay. Your mom and I both love you. So, what I'm saying here is I may not use these completely the same way I wrote them, but I put them in quotation marks because these are the words that are actually coming out of my characters' mouths. They are actually saying it. And when I add them to my narrative, I'm going to add a speech tag. For example, your dad got a new job, my mom said, or we are moving to Denver, my mom exclaimed. So you have to have a speech tag saying who is speaking, who is having that dialogue. So we have what mom and dad says. These are my characters and their dialogue. I have characters, me. So my dialogue, I have a lot more dialogue than other people because it's the story is about myself. So I have me, I say things. So I'm not too happy. So I say, what? Exclamation point. I don't want to move. Please don't make me move. I don't want to start a new school. I miss my friends. Hi, what is your name? I'm new here. Want to play with me? So those are things that my character can say. Like I said, you don't have to use it all, but it makes me think about how my story is going to move along. So if I think of the dialogue, I know how my story is going to go. And I can change things. I can change wording. I can change the punctuation. But remember, everything your characters say have to be in quotation marks because that is what you do to dialogue. Here's another example. I have Sam, my brother, and Sally. I kind of color coded so you can kind of see easier how who's saying what. Sam, my brother, says, I don't want to move either. We will stick together. Let's get this day started. And Sally says things like, hi, my name is Sally. I'm new here too. Yes. So when I'm thinking of my dialogue, I kind of have to make it connect to my other characters because they're going to be responding to each other. So don't just say when they're talking, say said. You have to make sure you add speech tags that say asked, exclaimed, um, mentioned. So change it up a little. It gets a little boring when you say said Sam, said Sally. So um, responded Sally. Uh, Sam spoke. So dialogue, the way you make your character say it, changes the story. You kind of give your character life. So I have my narrative writing graphic organizer again. So I showed my characters and then I have my setting and then I had what they are saying. The problem is I don't want to move. I have to move and I don't want to move. And my solution is I find friends and I fit in. So in that process, I'm going to get from I don't want to move to I'm happy. So I always have my graphic organizer with me at all times. So my narrative writing for week 4 is read a new life in Vermont and write a story using first person point of view. Your family decided to move. Write a story about your move and how you felt. Remember, this is a narrative, include dialogue in your story. So remember, you should have read A New Life in Vermont. So it's kind of going to give you an example of what this character is going through. So you can kind of take ideas from that. Do not copy that story. You can use ideas from that story to help you write your narrative. And remember, it says first person point of view. I underline that because the story is about you. So the story should have things like I, me, we, us. So you are telling the story about yourself. So when I put me, you should put your name under that category because you are the one telling the story. I have transitional phrases here. So we have narrative, informative, and opinion. We are only going to look at the narrative because this is narrative writing. So in the beginning, you have a hook, and then you you have to hook your readers. So you don't have to pick one of the ones listed, but it has to have an introduction. So there's transitional phrases for beginning, middle, and end there. You see things like it all started, was a it began one time, one day in the beginning, at first, last summer, winter. So it has to begin somehow. In the middle, it has meanwhile, after that, later, soon after that, suddenly, therefore, as you can imagine, so and so on. And at the end, you should have things like as a result of, therefore, lastly, finally, in conclusion, in the end, after all, to sum it up, I look forward to. At the end, you could say things like and we became best friends and we played every day after that. So you don't have to use these exactly, but you have to have some kind of introduction. You have to introduce your story. You have to end it. You can't just leave it. And you have to use words that kind of make your story flow, get your reader interested because nobody likes a boring story. So in the introduction, always use a sentence starter. And here's the examples. And I read them in the beginning. It all started one day. Once upon a time. One day. Last summer. It was a cloudy day. I remember the time. You can start it however you want. You use your imagination. It is your story. Make it a good one. This part of writing is the one where you can use your imagination. It doesn't have to be real. It can be all in your imagination. Use those adjectives describing. You have to have that little picture going through your mind. Have your readers picture your story in their head just like when you read a book. When you read a book, you kind of have a little movie going on because the author is giving you description. So when you're writing your narrative story, think of who's reading your story and you need to have them get that little picture in their brain. Have a little movie. So if you can't have that little movie in your head, then you need to add more adjectives and make it more detailed. So I hope this helped you. And I want you to remember that you can be as awesome as you want to. So put your mind to it. You can accomplish anything. And I look forward to reading all your stories. Have a good day, boys and girls, and I miss you all.